everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Unraveling the Veil with your host, Katie from the yararose.com website. That is YARAROSE.com. You can also follow me on @YaraRoseHealing on both YouTube and Instagram to keep up with what's going on with me. Now let's get to today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I wanted to defer to Spirit about the message that they wanted me to share with you today, because when I kept thinking about what do I want to say, I just kept thinking about it being the end of a year and wanting to reflect on what I had went through, where I was at, and what my next steps were going to be. And I felt like that was a lot similar to the last episode I did in December of 2024. So I thought the best thing for me to do would be to check with Spirit and ask them if that's truly what you needed to hear or what message they wanted me to relay to you in December of 2025. And when I drew all the cards that they wanted me to draw for you today, I would say that the entire message to me is giving me a feeling of the changing of the guard. It just feels like putting the old to rest and honoring that cycle, honoring that completion, even celebrating that completion, and then making room and making way for that new energy, those new beginnings, and those new seeds. So without further ado, let's dive into this message that they have here for you today. They had me draw 8 cards in total for you, and the last one's an affirmation that I'm going to tell you at the very end of the message. But I would say that the one card that they wanted you to think about while I tell you the other 6 was simply to think about harmony and balance. And it's actually the card titled Rainbow. And its message says, today is the time to find inner and outer harmony. No matter what aspects of your life are in flux, seek what can bring balance to your mindset. Slow down and enjoy the peace and harmony. And this card flew out of the deck all on its own. So I felt like it was just one of those things that while we navigate the other 6 cards, they want you to keep in mind that the theme of all of them is to, in every moment, remember your inner and outer balance. Don't give too much effort or focus to this one specific card. It's all about the balance. It's all about staying in harmony, and that's where peace is, and that's where contentment is. So the first card that they sent out for you today is about illumination and completion, and it's the full moon card, which says, reflect on your achievements and give thanks for the growth and effort that brought you here. You may experience emotional release. This is a time to celebrate your results and let go of the past. They gave me an angel number for each of these cards as a clarifier. So the angel number for the full moon, illumination, and completion is number 1717. And then it's about independence, soul mission, alone time, learning, healing, and aspirations. And its message is take a few deep breaths and focus inward. You need time to think things over and consider your options. At this time, you must rely solely on yourself. You might not believe it, but you're heading in the right direction. What appears to be a lull in activity is just a natural part of the process. So with these 2 cards, this is the part of the journey where I feel like that I was resonating with that reflection on what has occurred in the year. How have things fallen? How do I feel about what's happened? And I'm always about finding the silver lining. So even the things that maybe didn't go the way I wanted them to go, what was the takeaway from that? Was the healing? What was the lesson? How can I integrate with that and move forward in my life? This is the time, again, to slow down and really celebrate all those wins, honor what you may perceive as failures, but really are just lessons that will enable you to be more resilient and have more knowledge in the future as you progress in your journey in life. I feel like this truly does resonate with me with just the ending of a year. We are approaching the end of 2025. What does that mean? What has 2025 meant for you? What are you now ready to close the books on? What limiting beliefs, what patterns of thought, what relationship perspectives, what type of things are you ready to let go of? What are you ready to release so you can make room for that new year and those new energies? The second card they sent was similar, and that is the sunset card, which to me feels like it's really going to represent the next couple of weeks where you're letting this year end. It's the sunset of the year. It's the ending. It's about Endings and reflection. The message says, sunset symbolizes the close of a chapter. Today, take time to reflect on the past and organize your thoughts. Let go of what's done. Express gratitude for every moment and get ready for new beginnings. The angel number associated with sunset is 7777, perseverance. The themes are change of perspective, reflection, inner strength, wisdom, and enlightenment. The message says there's a need for a change of perspective on whatever has taken over you now. If you want to succeed, you need to keep going down the road you're on. Reach for the wisdom within, and then you'll know what the right next step is. So over these next couple of weeks, after the in-depth reflection and categorizing and kind of weighing of the year has been done, and you are looking at, your mental inventory of what you've learned, what you've succeeded at, what you're ready to let go, and what seeds you want to plant, I almost feel like what they're saying is you also need to take a step back, okay? Because we did the logical intuition, we did the balance, the harmony, we thought about it, we reflected on it. But is there a way that now that you've looked at it from that perspective, that you can shift your perspective just a little bit and be like, this is what I thought was the lesson here. But what if I looked at it from this perspective? What if I shifted just a little bit? Play with it. Have fun with it. This is your life. And if anything, these cards are telling you that you are the best person to understand where you're at in life, what your journey is on. I mean, literally, I would say every single one of your angel numbers are telling you that the answer is within you and that you're going to find it. You're on the right track and you're the best resource for making your next steps. But sometimes, and I just want to say this from like my perspective, I have been shown a couple times in the last couple of weeks these things on changing perspective. And where am I looking at something a little bit too much from the ego perspective? Where is my logic or my desire to achieve specific outcomes getting in the way of my higher self and the messages that my higher self is trying to send me? And actually, this is a really good point. I had a card come up, I think 2 weeks ago, and its general message is about awareness. And it says to be careful when you think you are pursuing something you're passionate about and you get a glimpse of that flame. Be aware, because you may think that you're pursuing something that is your dream, is your sun, is your star at the end, but it could just be a fire that you're heading into. And I feel like the difference in the energy is simply that the fire is more ego-based. It's more, I have to achieve this because of XYZ. I have to do this. I need to grind. I need to keep working. Versus when the dream, when that sun, that star, that higher self is guiding you, it's not nearly as grind feeling. Sometimes I'm so sorry. I don't know how to explain energy. Like, I don't know how to this is just how, when I'm feeling it, this is how it feels. It feels like it feels like sharp and pointy and like you're almost like a slave to this drive, versus when your higher self is leading you there. It's light, it's fun, it's airy, it's balanced. Yes, it's still progress. It's still consistent movement and action every day, but it doesn't look or feel as heavy. It doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like joy. It feels like sun on a beautiful 70-degree day. It feels like the blue skies and the huge white clouds. The energy is so different in how you approach things in life. And I feel like that card just popped in my head. So I feel like Spirit just wanted me to remind you, there is a difference. You may think that you're seeing a white hot light at the end of the tunnel and that's what you're going for. And, this is something I personally have told myself a couple times when I start getting into that ego base where I'm like, oh no, I'm going to get there. I just got to get there. I just got to do this. I just got to do this. And I keep telling myself, as soon as I get there, I'm going to rest. As soon as I get there, I'm going to do this. As soon as I do this, and this, I'm going to have that time. And it's like, wait a second. Is that how my higher self would want me to proceed here? Is this the energy that my higher self usually sends when I'm in this particular mode of trying to achieve something? And I'm like, no, that doesn't even feel right. And usually what ends up happening for me is I end up burning myself out. I end up overwhelming myself and my mental ability just goes down the toilet because I've worked myself into the ground, basically. And I don't want any of you all to do that. And I know personally that sometimes the month of December kind of has that feeling. And I don't know if that's because of the holidays and trying to do all the extra activities that are around the holidays, or if your work is really busy. I know my work seems to get pretty busy in December. So there's work, there's extracurricular things you have to do. It just seems like it's really busy, and sometimes it can burn you out really quickly. So while we're on the note of perspective, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like being aware is really important when you're in this energy of reflection on what you're letting go of and what you want to move towards. And the importance for me here to highlight is the energy in which you are doing so. Are you letting go of something that feels light, or are you letting go of something that feels heavy? Are you pursuing something that feels light, or are you pursuing something that makes you feel heavy or like you're a slave to it? And focus on that energy and keep that in mind as you're navigating through this sunset, this ending, this reflection time period right here, because you want to make sure that when you get to the spring card, which is the next one, you want to make sure that you are planting the seeds that you want to harvest. You want to make sure that those are really truly what you want, and that you're doing it based off of what feels good for you and not the relief that you feel you need, if that makes any sense. And before I move on to the spring card, I wanted to share, I wanted to share really two different messages that Spirit have given me around perspective in the last month. So the first one is simply, they send me a lot of songs when I'm sleeping. I'll wake up with a song in my head and I'm like, oh, okay, there's a message in there that they want me to pay attention to. And the message in the last couple of weeks has been Reba McEntire's Somebody. And to me, that message is about, again, being aware of your energy, being aware of how you approach each and every single day and each and every single moment. Because Somebody is a song about a person that was looking for the love of their life, and they were downtrodden and they were so sad because they weren't able to find this person. And it's just that reminder of, if you are so focused on the thing that you can't have, it inhibits you from actually receiving what you're looking for. So in their inability to focus right there in that moment, they were missing the very person that was meant to be with them. And when they had that seed planted that, hey, it could be anybody. It could be the person at your coffee shop. It could be the person you sit next to on the train. It could be somebody you work with. This person that you're looking for, it could be anywhere. But if you're sitting here drinking your cup of coffee, staring at it going, I'm never going to find love. Love can't find you. You're not open to receive love. And then as soon as they had that little shift in their perspective, they were able to find the love of their life. And then they're laughing about, man, I can't believe we were this close for so long and we never even knew each other. And I think that's a really great example from Spirit about, hey, watch where your focus is. Remember that what you focus on is what you bring in and draw into your life. And if you're so busy focusing on something that you don't want, if you're so busy pursuing that fire that you think is your dream, but is really just going to burn you out, that's going to be a problem. It's going to prevent you from getting what you want. And it's also going to bring you negative things that you don't want, like the burnout and the symptoms that come with that. So be very aware of how you're choosing to focus your energy and how you're choosing to go about in the world, because there are truly amazing things available to you every single day. But if you're choosing to focus on what you don't have or what you wish you had more of, that's going to prevent those things from slipping in. So just kind of be open, see what happens. And then the second message was a really cool experience that Spirit had given me. It's like probably about a month ago. I wrote about it. So it looks like it was on November 9th. I was editing at my kitchen table, and I was in a perspective of, I really just want this to happen, and I'll feel so much better when it does, which, if you've talked to me, listened to me, whatever, you know that's not the perspective you want to be in. And we just talked about why that is, right? When your focus is on lack and how you don't have it, you're not able to get what you're trying to achieve. So I'm sitting there and I just had this moment of like connecting with nature outside my window. I just happened to glance out. I got out of that focus, and I watched this hawk who was flying with some prey that it had caught for itself for its meal. And it was flying outside my window, and it had gotten to the road right in front of my house when a siren went off. So the siren startled it. It wasn't expecting to hear an emergency vehicle go off, and it dropped its meal on the ground, which happened to be in one of the actual driving lanes. So eager to get its meal back, once it was not startled by the noise, it dropped down into the other lane, and it was trying to figure out how to pick up its food, because the lane that the food had dropped in was constantly having cars go by. So as this hawk was literally standing in the other lane to go, well, to make it easier, how can we say this? So say that the lane that the cars were traveling north on was where the prey was, and the lane that the cars were traveling south on is where the hawk was. So this hawk is standing in this lane and he's analyzing, when can I go grab that and get out without these things hitting me? And while he's standing in this lane, he almost gets hit by a semi that was going south. So he barely escapes with his life. But instead of coming right back down and landing on the road and doing the exact same thing, he went up higher into a tree and he kind of analyzed the situation from that higher vantage point. And it took a little bit longer than I'm sure this hawk would have liked, but eventually he did find an opening and flew down, grabbed its thing, and flew off with it. And to me in that moment, I was like, thank you, Spirit. I got the message. I just needed to pivot. I needed to get out of this vantage point where I was looking at this thing that I needed to get done and I wanted to get done ASAP, and that was going to bring my happiness. And I needed to shift to a higher perspective, because that's where the answers are going to come from, saying, okay, this is what I want to accomplish. How can Spirit and I co-create that in my life? And I need to stay open and be like, okay, I put it out to them. I know my spiritual team has received the message and we're going to be working on this together. What does that look like for me? That looks like saying, hey, Spirit, this is the general direction in which I want to move. What kind of opportunities can you bring into my reality? And then I stay open, and then things happen and I get curious about it and I lean into it and I'm like, I don't know if this is it or not, but I'm going to try it. It feels good. And then breadcrumbing it is what I call it, because they send me little breadcrumbs, right? Like they give me this one, which gives me this step into this step into this step. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, I achieve what I wanted to. Maybe not in the way I ever would have expected it, but that's how it works when you're open to receiving and following the breadcrumbs and following those nudges. So that was a really, I really liked that example. It was so perfect for me. It helped me in that moment so much. Based on the content of these cards, I'm hoping with the messages that Spirit have kind of been channeling here for you, that also gives you a little bit of a perspective on like, how does this work and how can I make this work in my life? And what kind of information can this give me in a way that helps me see and perceive my life in a different way? So we are on to the last section, which is spring. It's about beginnings and renewal. Spring invites new beginnings and a sense of renewal. It is a time to plant seeds, whether for your personal journey, your goals, or new ideas, and nurture them as they begin to grow. The angel number associated with spring was 1221, taking initiative. The themes are change, optimism, joy, communication, messages, good news, expression, and high vibes. The message is work with what you have and it will get you places. Count your blessings and acknowledge your dear ones. You will find inspiration and figure out a way forward. You might also be getting some good news soon. So how perfect is that? You work through the full moon, the illumination, the completion, the endings, the reflections, and then you start off the next year with beginnings and renewal, with planting those seeds for the next things that you want. You've analyzed why you want it. Is it coming from a place where your higher self is feeding it to you, the dreams in your heart? It feels light. It feels easy. It feels possible. It feels open. It feels expansive. Or is it coming from a place of fear where it feels heavy? It feels like you have to slave to get there. We've walked through this and now you're in this area where you're planting these amazing seeds and you're going to water them and feed them as is necessary. And then eventually you're going to get to the harvest time, but that's jumping ahead. So I just thought that this whole message was so perfect with the ending of the year. When I saw the completion, the endings, the reflection, and then the renewal, I was like, this is perfect for a December reading. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. It just felt like, wow, this is cool. Like I thought maybe I was the only one feeling this way. But the fact that you just drew cards for me that all kind of point to that, it means it's a collective energy where we're all to this point where it's like, okay, this is truly where we're at. This is what steps we can take. And by taking these, we're setting ourselves up for a really amazing 2026. And I feel really great about that. I feel really good about it. I hope that that helps you. I did draw an affirmation card from the Louise Hay How to Love Yourself deck. I really truly think that affirmations can be really beneficial. I've started doing them weekly for myself just to be like a reminder of okay, this is something I need to think about every single day this week. This deck specifically is about how to love yourself. So I have really enjoyed it because it reminds me that there are opportunities each and every single day, no matter what I'm pursuing, no matter what's going on, to give myself the love that I deserve, the love that I want other people to have and also to give me as well. So the card for today says, I am surrounded and filled with infinite wisdom, which for me is amazing because it goes with the three angel numbers, which is talking about how you are the best person to navigate forward on the right track. And that even though other people may have opinions, ultimately you need to go with what your gut is telling you, with what your signs are telling you, with what feels right for you. And then on the back it says, I am one with the very power that created me. This power loves all its creations, including me. I've hoped that these messages today have helped you. I really hope that they've provided you clarity. I've hoped that they've given you an opportunity for the best way for you to move forward in the rest of December of 2025 and as you begin January of 2026. Thank you again so much for coming on here, for listening to me, and really hoping that the information that the Spirit's giving you is helping you in your lives and helping you to live your best life. Happy holiday season, and I can't wait to speak with you again soon. I love you all. I wish you the most love, light, and inspiration. With all of my love, Katie.